Hi folks, and welcome to the daily analysis on Monday the 30th of January. The time of recording is 7:19 a.m. So it's the start of a new week. So today we'll start again with the weekly charts, and we're going to start with cable first. So we'll just open up the weekly chart here for cable. You can see that again last week we had another positive week after the previous bull week, which was the bounce off our 23.6 Fibbo line, which is now a 3 contact point support line itself. This is really the neckline, which we'll see on the daily chart when we drill down to it next. Stochastics is moving its way back up to overbought, but it's still short of that just yet, having put in this mini positive divergence down here. So a black trend line support lies just underneath our 23.6 Fibbo line here, so we should watch out for that in the future if the price makes it down there. Let's move on to the daily chart. Okay, if you remember from last week, we have this aqua blue resistance line. This is our trend line for this downtrend, starting up here in August of 2011 and connecting it here to this high in October. The price has pushed its way through, but we're going to see on the shorter time frame, the 4-hour chart, that it's now starting to run into to some really formidable resistance here, and it's had 10 straight days up. Friday was another marginal plus day there on Friday, but we've had 10 straight days up, and really this needs a bit of a correction before we should start really considering any new long trades. So at the minute, we don't really favor this trend line to be broken in one sitting. We do favor a retracement, as we discussed in last night's webinar, and so we'll be watching out for that, a retracement in 3 waves, possibly with a resumption of that uptrend thereafter. So at the minute, no new long trades up here. We'll wait for the correction and see if it turns after that. Neckline here, down here, the orange neckline, that's the key line here on the daily chart. It's the neckline of our head and shoulders top pattern. There's the head, left shoulder, and right shoulder. And if this breaks, then that really does signal the continuation of the larger downtrend, as we see there on the weekly chart. If we pop back to it, the larger downtrend being this trend here from 2007 through to 2008. So the neckline is coming across here, and if it were to break, really that would be signaling the continuation of this trend into a 5th wave down, this being 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what we're looking out for on the larger time frames. Let's move down into the 4-hour chart. We can see here that it's been held up in this advance has been held up by this pink line just here. And if we zoom out just to take a look at that, that's that old support line from back here that was broken and did provide resistance just here. So it's now coming back into play, which quite often happens. This black line here, this horizontal line that I've got in, that goes back a little further as well. This is not the origins of this particular resistance line here, but it is stiff resistance, as you can see, 3 points of contact just there, and it lies just above the pink line just there. So we should definitely watch out for that. That's resistance overhead, should the price be able to push through our pink line. Below, the aqua blue trend line resistance did act as support on Friday, just here, but we can see now the price rolling back towards it. I don't think that's likely to hold, to be fair. I mean, I would be surprised to see if it did, and even if it did, the price pushing back above this pink line does have that resistance there. So I do expect to see a retracement, having made a very nice impulsive move up just here. Okay, so moving on to the 1-hour chart. Just this trend line here to mention. This is our red trend line support for the uptrend from the 13th of January low. So that's below, just converging there with our 38.2 Fibbo level. Obviously price coming down to it now, and points to watch out for is there's a point of convergence just here between the daily broken resistance line and our trend line support. A break of this trend line support would signal obviously a larger retracement that's happening, and so we'll watch out for that as and when the price can make it down there. So that's cable. Let's move on to the Euro US dollar. Weekly chart again. We can see here our orange neckline here that we have of this head and shoulders top pattern. Now this is the orange neckline. The price has made another solid week up last week, breaking through the 38.2 Fibbo. And it's fallen just short of the neckline, which was support, now resistance. So we'll take a closer look at this on the shorter term time frames. Black long term support line here, and long term resistance just up there. But the neckline is really the key line at the minute, so we'll take a closer look at it on the daily chart. First thing to notice is we've had a decent move down since the market opened there last night, after another strong day up to put in a new high on Friday, breaking through these Fibbo levels and the October low just here. It's now back down at that October low, which you'll see on the shorter time frames. And so it remains to be seen whether this breakthrough on Friday was simply the price sticking its nose through before making a more meaningful retracement back down. As in the case of cable, that retracement is certainly looks due now. We've got stochastics putting in a mini negative divergence just here, which is a bearish indicator signaling at least a retracement, and certainly we have a strong move up here off our 23.6 Fibbo, and that looks now mature. It is an impulsive looking move, so any move down we are expecting to be corrective before we see a resumption of this move up. The neckline is formidable resistance, so it should not be trifled with, considering long trades underneath it. This is likely to cause resistance, and so we'll watch out for that when the price gets there. 38.2 Fibbo level is support below, so watch out for that on the lower time frames also. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, here we can see the price just back at this October low, and how it's managed to push through on Friday this collection of resistance. So as I say, it's come back at it quite fast, so it doesn't look like it's in the short run it's going to stay up there, possibly favouring a more meaningful retracement back down before a challenge of that. We do have our crossover just here on the 4-hour chart and the 200 moving up. You can see here that the divergence picture, short-term divergence picture, and stochastics now looking down. So we can see we're just short of this neckline. So after possibly after a more meaningful retracement, we're likely to get a challenge of that neckline. I feel that that's the favoured path right now, but as in the case of cable, we don't think it's going to get there in one sitting, and we'll look for that retracement. Okay, 1-hour chart, just put in the channel lines here on our 1-hour chart, the red channel. There's our upper channel line. A break of that sees it running into the neckline, and here's trend line support, the lower channel line, just here now converging with our weekly 38.2 Fibbo. These screenshots will all be available on the website as usual this morning. Let's move on to US dollar Swiss. Another down week there for US dollar Swiss, and we now see the stochastics making its way down on the cycle indicator here to the oversold zone, but still early days yet for stochastics there. The price, interestingly, is running into its short-term moving averages, and this long-term black weekly chart, well, it's a monthly chart, support resistance line. It's surprising how easily the prices appears to have made it through this line so far. I'm still watching for indications that this line is holding as support. Obviously MACD is supporting a resumption of the downtrend with its negative convergence, and this is certainly a very bearish indicator on stochastics, this mini divergence just here. But in the short run, we've really got to focus on this line, because that could well offer support, even though the price has poked its nose through there on Friday. We can see here on the daily chart, we can see how that looks. We can see that nice little bear candle there coming through the line. The price is right back at the line at the minute, so we've got to wait to see if that can hold as resistance, or if it was just a small sortie below it, pending a move back up for it to offer support. It's such a big line that we can't have, have it to the pip as far as its position here, so it could still well offer support, and we should be watching for that. Stochastic starting to show a little bit of positive divergence down here, and hasn't quite turned up yet, so we'll watch for that. A move up today would certainly help in that regard. Okay, 4-hour chart. Here we can see a clue zooming in on this long-term black line. It does appear to have offered resistance here on Friday, pushing the price back down. And as I say, those mature looks on the moves up from Euro US dollar and the cable market running into overhead resistance does favour a bit of relief in that uptrend and a push back down, certainly at least in the short term. And so this market moves inversely, so I would be surprised again in the short term if this holds below the black line. But if it does, that's a sign of extreme weakness, and obviously the downtrend will continue. Fibo grid here from the October low to the January high. Next line of support, 50 Fibo line just here, which coincides with this low over here. Let's move on to the last 1-hour chart. Just these green channel lines to mention here. And we've now got 3 contact points on the lower channel support, and just 2 contact points on the upper trend line resistance. Obviously, a break of this trend line resistance would indicate something larger to the upside happening, possibly a more meaningful retracement, possibly a challenge for a new high, but certainly very much a downtrend there in the short term at the minute. That's all to mention today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and as I say, the screenshots will be posted on the website this morning. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.